A movement we as golf coaches deal with a lot is this situation where the player would come over the top of their swing in the downswing. So in an ideal world, the player would take the club back on a certain plane, so that's this angle here, and then come back down on that exact same plane, or even more optimally, come down underneath that plane, shallowing the club as it goes. But of course, oftentimes a player won't have that motion. The club actually comes out in front of them in the downswing, and it's now swinging from over here down and across the ball. So the club's coming down steep, and you're going to have an out to win path leading to pull shots, slice shots, and oftentimes shanks as well. So let's understand how that works and see if we can help some people not come over the top and get a strong inside path into the ball. So of course there's always the usual suspects from a technique perspective, and they would be being aware of where your club line is at the top. And if your club is very laid off, i.e. pointing over that direction in the top of the backswing, you're likely to move in this manner in the downswing. And also if you haven't mastered the movement sequence, so you haven't got your body parts moving in the right order, then again you're likely to throw your shoulders out too early, the club comes over the top. And in the Golf Coach Power app, that whole app is dedicated to understanding and learning how to move in sequence and getting the club swinging through on the right slot. But there's more than that. It's also about creating the right representations in your mind, and instinctively you would think that in order to hit the ball straight, the club needs to travel in a straight line. And as long as you have that in your mind, you'll be trying to get the club on that straight line to push it forwards. But that's not how it works. And if you believe that the club needs to travel in a straight line, then you're not going to be creating the right representations in your mind. And if you go to our motor learning section of the website, we do say how movement comes from creating those correct images and representations of the movement to start with. So we need to fully understand that in order to get the club to come in and square up at the ball, the club needs to start from way behind us, and then it swings in from behind us via the turning motion of the body. So as I'm turning through the ball, the club would swing out and then straighten up. So for a split second, sure, the club is moving in a straight line, but to do that, it must start by coming in from way behind me. And to help reinforce those representations, it's well worth spending some time with an impact bag. Well, I don't have an impact bag with me, so I'll use my golf bag just as an example. Please don't hit your golf bag. And I'll just lay that there and see if it will balance. Right. So in this exercise, you'd set the bag up slightly to your left in wood position, and then we're going to set the club behind us with a shoulder turn and just practice hitting the bag squarely, so moving forwards, but from a position where the club is way behind. So this would represent what good players feel in the bottom half of their swing. So the club's behind me, and as I turn into the ball, you can see how the club swings round and squares up in that bottom section of the arc. It doesn't want to be happening out there and over the top from the top of my backswing. And of course, it's, as always in golf, it's a bit more complicated than that. If you have that fantastic inside to square motion, but your hands and arms aren't able to square the club face, i.e. you haven't got that great releasing mechanism, the ball's going to go to the right. So there's that sense of connectedness where what you do in the follow through needs to match what happens in the backswing. And we talk a little bit about that in the motor learning section of the website. So if you find that you're coming over the top, first of all, make sure that you're moving in sequence. That's really important. And then start thinking about how you imagine the movement and develop that trust of a club coming behind you is actually going to square up via the motion of our body pivot.